Most scientists dismiss the idea of alien life forms as utterly impossible. But recently, a startling discovery in outer space has even some of the country's most ardent skeptics reconsidering their position. For the first time in history, we may finally have proof that there is a spark of life beyond Earth.
We use our intellect to try to understand this universe and to try to understand our place in the universe. Why do we exist?
The origin of life on Earth. It's a question that astronomers try to answer by looking at the cosmos. And recently, one tiny piece of the puzzle fell into place when NASA astronomers used the Hubble telescope to confirm the existence of black holes.
And the reason this is important is that black holes are more than just some science fiction, fantastic phenomena. It's our first glimpse of the edge of the universe as we know it.
As a science writer for the San Francisco Examiner, Key Davidson is continually revising his definition of space.
It's important to remember that a black hole is something that defies space and time as we intuitively think of them. We tend to think of space and time as things that are absolute.
The gravitational pull is so strong that nothing can escape from it, not even a beam of light. That is why we call it black hole.
According to Hubble project specialist Duccio Macchetto, a black hole's extraordinary gravitational pull has the ability to capture the essence of the cosmos.
We begin to get a better view, a better understanding of how the universe as a whole works, of how galaxies are formed, how stars are formed, how they evolve, and how we came to be.
Think of a black hole as a cosmic factory where raw materials are sucked in and then transformed into stars, planets, and galaxies. If this is true, then perhaps life in outer space can be created in the same way. And recently, one of the raw materials of life has been discovered floating in space, an amino acid called glycine.
It would be sort of like finding a brick floating around in space. From that, you could infer the existence of brick houses in outer space. Now, we don't know for sure that this glycine means that larger amino acid structures are forming in space, but it's a clue that the formation of the building blocks of life is a routine thing in the universe.
If the building blocks of life are to be found routinely in space, can we presume that Earth is the only living planet? According to many scientists, no.
Mars is the best prospect in the solar system at the moment for another life form.
Planetary scientist Jay Malash theorizes that catastrophic collisions between celestial bodies millions of years ago could have sent enormous chunks of our planet hurtling into space.
For example, the impact that killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago left a crater almost 200 kilometers in diameter. That very well may have blown rocks off the surface of the Earth entirely, and those rocks could potentially carry microorganisms that would then be transported through space and fall on Mars.
And if these planetary fragments carried life from Earth to Mars eons ago, could the reverse also be true?
We have in our laboratories and museums chunks of Mars that have come to the Earth. Maybe terrestrial life has its roots on Mars. Maybe we're all evolved Martians.
But for life to exist, there must be water. Geologist Jeff Cargill has found evidence that water once flowed on Mars.
I would say that Mars is extremely water-rich. Now, most of its water is in the form of ice. It's a cryogenic planet today. There are certainly abundant indications that liquid water flowed on the surface.
And some astrogeologists believe that microbes in a state of cryogenic suspension exist under Martian ice today.
Life is very imaginative, and it finds ways of adapting to an extraordinary range of environments. We find living creatures in hot springs in Yellowstone. We find them living beneath the ice of Antarctica. And I have no doubt that, given enough time, life forms could exist on Mars just as they exist on the Earth.
Less than 100 years ago, a nanosecond in cosmic time, we rode in horse-drawn buggies and depended on the Pony Express. Today, we're sending a robot to mine the surface of Mars. It may be sooner than we think before we have the ability to make contact with alien life forms we can only dream about today.